Alright guys, game 2. Let's rumble with this deck. Hopefully all our games go as well as game 1. But I do have to warn you, this is a pretty experimental deck, so there is the possibility we just draw poorly and lose. I haven't lost a game in testing yet, though, where I get to Astral Communion in the first few turns of the game. Those games are usually just easy wins. Warrior should be a pretty good matchup. We'll see, though. Again, I'm going to go ahead and mulligan everything. If you hate thinking about mulligans, this is also the deck for you. Just look for Astral Communion. Did not get there. Harrison, though, is nice against any kind of Warrior deck. Kermagus is a good threat. You know, Swipe isn't on its best. Neither is Wrath, but we'll see what happens. Azure, just go ahead and pass here. This is a nice game. We'll get to showcase how the deck plays just sort of normally. Although, no ramp is kind of rough. Ooh, now we gotta coin this. Never mind, we're all good now. I think we still do it. If it's in the first 3 turns, I think you go for Astral Communion. After that, I think it's just a dead card, which is unfortunate, but one of the deck building costs you pay to have an awesome deck. Opponent's still just doing nothing. Actually, I kind of want we do have a good hand. And now we have an Innervate as well. So this is the rough part of the deck. It's where you have to decide whether you want to Communion on this turn or not. So the argument against doing it is that this turn instead we could Innervate Azure Drake. We're still doing fine on mana. I mean, we can't cast anything super crazy. And we also have Kermagus, which is a good threat. We have some good removal, some good card draw. I think I'm actually going to not Communion here. I think I'm just going to draw with Azure Drake. Drew an Ancient Allure. So that would have been our draw after Communion. Not that that matters since that's pretty RNG dependent, but had we Communioned, we would have had a really good draw after. I still think this is fine, though. Probably going to get Death Spited, sure. If we ever run out of cards in hand, this also draws us a card, which is not great, but it's fine. Now we drew a Wild Growth, which means we can coin Lore next turn. We also could have just coined Harrison, but I kind of want to save it for full value. Because if we just coin Harrison now, he's just going to equip Fire War Axe and hit. There's also the chance we get some Kermagus Harrison potential. Had I thought this was Patron Warrior, I would have definitely Harrisoned. I thought this was going to be Control Warrior since my opponent just armored up the first few turns. Didn't really play any, you know, Loot Hoarders or Acolytes or anything. So that's a little bit unfortunate, but, you know, things like that happen. So to deal with this, we can Wrath this one, and then swipe here. Yeah, that works. So actually, we're just going to leave him with 1 alive this turn. Yeah, that seems like the best play. I could play Lore and draw, but not great. And also, if I do that, he just trades the 5/1 for it. This way, we leave him with just 1 Patron, which hopefully he can't do anything too crazy with. We still have the Harrison, which will be good eventually. We have a lot of card draw. But again, had I known this was Patron Warrior, it was definitely right to Harrison. I got a little bit greedy there and just wanted a Wild Growth instead. That's a little bit gross. So I can't, like, hit this and then swipe, or hit this and then swipe, because this will give him more patrons. So this game seems pretty rough. Let's just draw with Lore and hope we can draw out of this. Keeper is a good draw. Silences the patron. Hopefully we get a trade-off with this. And also hopefully he doesn't have lethal this turn. As is common with Patron Warrior. Definitely was a misplay with the Harrison, though. Should have played it that turn. Would have only had to kill 2 patrons as opposed to 4. Made another patron. We don't really care as much about that. Alright, that wasn't execute. I guess he could still have 0 mana execute, which he does. Rough stuff. I was gonna say if he didn't, we would be not in too bad of shape, but he did. Okay. So now we can silence this and swipe this, which does let him draw a card, but it gets rid of patrons. And if we do that, he gets to draw a card and he has 6 damage on board, which we ideally don't die to, but you know, it's very possible we do. Our other options are like Belcher, Keeper this, or something. I think Keeper Swipe is the best play.
I must safeguard.
And next turn we can, you know, both Belcher and Harrison or Sylvanas or something. And of course Patron Warrior is good against any kind of Druid deck. But we also should have played the Harrison. Opponent played very well though, you know, it's possible he had Acolyte in hand or something and he was just keeping it there. Hoping that I thought he was Control Warrior and played differently because of that, and then he got to go off with Patron. Warsong Commander. Alright, I suspect we're dead here. Oh, he can't kill this though. Guess he can draw into it. So right now we're taking what? 10? Now we're taking 11. Oh, this actually increases it to 12 if he hits. But still not dead. In theory. Alright, that's gonna kill us. So I should have Harrison there. Might have still lost. Not quite sure. I definitely don't think we should have Communion there. But yeah, that was a game we did not play as well. So let's go ahead and see what happens in the third game.